Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast. I am your host,
Chuck Manity.
And in today's episode, we are going to be going over Love, Death and Robots Season 1, Episode 15. It is called Blindspot. It aired on March 15th, 2019 and has a runtime of 9 minutes. This scored a 6.3 out of 10 with 15,000 reviews on IMDb, which is not too great, but I can see why. It's not exactly everyone's cup of tea. Not mine either, actually, as a matter of fact. I did enjoy it, but it's not the best that Love, Death and Robots has made. So the synopsis of this episode is a gang of cyborg thieves stage a high-speed heist of a heavily armored convoy. The directors are Gabriella Pelliccioli and Vitaly Shushko. And then the writers are Vitaly Shushko and Tim Miller. And this episode stars Aaron Himmelstein as Rookie, Carlos Alesraqua. Yeah, I think that's how you say that. So the original person to play Sui was supposed to be Richard Neal. So he recorded the lines in February 2018. And that was before the role was recast to Carlos Lasraqui. Sorry if I'm saying that horribly. Then there's Jill Talley as Kelly, and then Brian Bloom as Hawk, and lastly Chris Cox as the voice of Bob. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. It opens up with the Netflix logo and followed by the title sequence. The first shot you see is 3 sort of alien-looking mice on a moon planet, and as soon as it zooms out, you see it's at night time with a whole bunch of stars in the background. They are then spooked by the vehicles that are now driving past them, and they make a run for it, and their fruit that they were busy eating gets crushed by the wheel of one of these cars on the convoy. But what you see there are 4 vehicles busy driving through the light, and they're talking about it being a couple of minutes till go time. So there's some banter between the 4, between Hawk, Sui, Rookie and so on, and they are actually having a chat with Bob. Bob is some sort of AI robot, and Bob is giving them the lowdown on the truck that they are trying to rob. What they are trying to get from this truck is a microchip. Hawk actually throws some shade at Rookie, saying if you don't know what that is, there's a whole bunch in your head. So this is very futuristic. The look is kind of anime adjacent, not quite anime, but it does remind me of anime. So, you know, any anime fans out there, if I get this wrong, then I do apologize. But in my opinion, it does have that kind of feel. Not quite anime. So I'm not saying it looks exactly like anime, but it does have that kind of feel to it. So just before they reach a tunnel, they reach out to Bob. Bob says that they're good to go, so Bob has greenlit them. So they actually have to rob this convoy before the end of the tunnel, because it's a blind spot, which is obviously where the title of the episode comes from. It's a blind spot of where that truck can't be monitored because of the mountain that it's busy driving through. So 2 magnetic bombs have to be planted at the bottom of the truck to obviously let it explode as soon as they get into the tunnel. But things go a little bit south, so the first bomb is planted successfully. The second one of those little rodents I was talking about, the space rodents, pop up in the middle of the road, they have to dodge this, and the magnetic bomb comes loose from the car, flying into the air, almost blowing up Kelly. And what happens then is now the truck is now very much alert to what is going on. So the gang starts getting fired at by some armed guards from the back. So the truck opens up at the back and a few on the roof. They start shooting at the gang, and then they shoot the tip of Sui's cigar off. He gets mad, so he decides to ditch his ride and jump on the back of the convoy, basically annihilating all the guys, all the armed guards that are on the top there. So they blow up the back of the convoy because it's got a sort of trailer situation, so there's a few in a row. So now as soon as they need to blow it up, they say to, Rookie says to Hawk that Sui's not clear. Sui just says, blow it, I've got this. So basically as soon as it blows up, you get these really cool visuals and slow-mos of him jumping from the last convoy, which is now being detached, onto the next section. And as soon as he says, oh well, that was easy, two huge guns pop out of the roof of the truck. Obviously not as easy as he thought it was going to be. Yeah, so this is where a little bit of humor comes in. So Bob actually says, oh oops, did I forget to mention the automatic guns that are going to be on the roof. So Hawk pops onto the roof and takes out all the semi-automatic or the automatic guns that are on the roof. And obviously, to Bob's question, didn't I tell you about all the weaponry that's on the roof that will pop out? And then Hawk lands up saying right at the end of blowing up everything there and all the weaponry that's attacking them, says, no Bob, you didn't. So Bob gets another energy reading from inside the truck, and it's something that he missed as well. And it is an absolutely huge, like, cyborg robot thing that is now going to be attacking them. So they've got more to deal with now. So while Hawk is busy asking what it is, because he doesn't see it, it pops up behind him and it completely obliterates him, punching him on the head and hitting him to pieces, because these guys are half human, half cyborg type things. So it completely smashes him to pieces. Sui then gets very upset and he said, hey, that's my friend, and calls him all sorts of derogatory terms. But then he proceeds to move Rookie out the way because he's also on the roof, and then he starts attacking this giant robot. Sui tells Rookie to get below deck while he keeps attacking the robot, but all of his bullets aren't really making much of a difference. So the giant robot doesn't see what looks like a sign, because as you're going through a tunnel there's usually signs at the top of the tunnel. So this robot's tall enough to not be able to get underneath it, because the robot's facing towards the back of the truck while they're driving forward. Sui sees the sign, obviously, jumps into the truck at the bottom, goes below deck, and this giant robot thingy gets hit by the sign, gets taken out. And then this giant robot pulls like a bit of a transformer move here, and then as soon as it's falling, it basically changes into what looks like a military van and starts pursuing the truck. Kelly is still obviously in her vehicle at this point, pursuing the truck, and this giant robot is coming from behind her, and then Sui says to Kelly that she needs to watch out. She realizes too late, and this robot basically jumps in the air and flattens her and makes her explode. So Kelly's also now officially deceased. Sui starts shooting rockets at the giant robot, who is still pursuing the truck at this point. So Bob then gives them some information to help them. He says that they need to get inside the truck and take out the defense CPU. While Sui is keeping the big robot at bay, he tells Rookie that he needs to get to this defense CPU, so there's a little wall in between. So he blows that wall up, and now you can see this defense CPU, which Rookie is now trying to get rid of. So the giant robot gets wind of this, because the CPU, his CPU and him are kind of one in the same. So what happens is Rookie's making his way to the CPU. The robot then makes a giant leap with rockets and stuff and gets inside, or gets ahead of him, and stops him now from getting to the CPU. From there, you see Sui actually popping through the roof, jumping onto the giant robot and fighting him and asking Rookie what he's waiting for. So Rookie tries to make a run for the CPU. The giant robot hits him across the room, and then he takes Sui and then basically smashes his head in between his hands, kind of thing. So all robot stuff, nothing too crazy, mostly robot looking effects and all of that kind of thing. So Rookie is stuck under these boxes when he got hit by the robots. He was underneath these big metal boxes, so he was stuck underneath it. He was pinned underneath it with his leg. The robot's on its way to basically get rid of Rookie, and then the CPU starts beeping, so there's like an alert that's going off, and you actually see Sui without his head, with the oil from his cyborg body basically squirting onto the CPU. And as soon as the robot turns around, it's a little bit too late, and because he's a cigar smoking guy, he actually has a lighter on him, and as soon as he's squirting the oil onto the CPU, he actually lights it, and the whole part of the convoy, or that part of the convoy, completely blows up. There's a crazy slow-mo shot of the explosion from a cool angle where you see the giant robot and Rookie flying into the air, and as soon as it comes to a pause, you see Rookie by himself in front of the robot while it's busy buzzing. It kind of fades out, the giant robot, and Rookie is left with the microchip just before the edge of the tunnel. So he's the only one that survived, and pretty much one of the last things that you see is a thumbs up from Sui, and then Bob is on his way to pick up Rookie. So you see it's quite a nice little scene where you see basically the three of them. Like I said, Bob's hand's got like a little thumbs up on it, and as soon as Rookie's sad, he then sees a hologram from Bob. So as soon as you've seen the hologram of Sui, then up pops Hawk as well as Kelly, and they say that Bob makes a backup of their consciousness every time they do a mission. So the Rookie says to him, "Wow, I thought you guys were all dead." He's like, "No, haven't." And then Bob says, "Haven't you read your contact, buddy? Let's get out of here," kind of thing. So they obviously get put into different bodies and all of that stuff. So this is not the typical twist that you get from Love, Death and Robots, because it's kind of a happy ending. Yeah, so it's not your typical Love, Death and Robots ending where it's completely twisted into a bad way. This is, one of those happier moments. And after this little happy moment, I have to tell you, just before it goes dark, and that's the official end of the episode, you see one of those little rodent thingies, and it kicks what was Sui's old head, and it actually electrocutes itself. Not dead, but it does electrocute himself, which is quite funny. So that is it for today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode of Love, Death and Robots, please do comment that below. If you enjoyed the review that I did today for you guys, then please do let us know as well in the comments section below. I'm sure you've heard in some of Ben's latest episodes that he's done, there's going to be that comic book series, which I am really, really excited about. So please do look out for that in future. But besides that, do show us some love by liking, sharing, and subscribing. And that is it for today's episode of the Everything Podcast. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.